epitaph says he died a wealthy man, but you could have it all come back. It's his master plan with Tombstone. It's Tombstone. It's Tombstone. It's Tombstone. Health is draining.
All right, for my next project this year, I'm going to be doing a graveyard. Well, I'm doing a graveyard again. This time I'm going to be doing a light show, and I'm going to be using these two lightorama controllers you see here. And my graveyard is going to consist of 25 tombstones, 5 rows of 5. And the very middle one is going to house these two controllers. So what I got to do is I'm going to make basically a plywood frame, and then I'm going to wrap it with the traditional styrofoam there, and carve it up and all that stuff, paint it. But as you can imagine, this thing has to be somewhat sizable to hold these two controllers. There's going to be a total of 32 electrical cords running into to these controllers. I'm going to have a spotlight on each individual tombstone, so there'll be a lot of wires running around. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing next. Stay tuned. All right, here's the framework all completed. It's not pretty, but it'll serve its purpose just fine. I did some notches down here at the bottom. That's where, because I got a controller here and a controller here, and there'll be 16 wires, extension wires coming up through each side, so I want to make sure I had plenty of room. And then I'm going to be kerfing the top piece of foam, and I wanted to give myself some good places to glue to, so that's why I put those little braces in there. But yeah, that's it. It's not very pretty, like I said, but it'll serve its purpose just fine. So next thing to do is get the foam on it. All right, so we got the foam mostly put on. The only thing I have left to do is run some base around the bottom of it. But one thing I wanted to show you guys was how I did the rounded top. Many of you probably already know how to do this, but some of you may not, so I figured I would point it out here. I used to work in commercial woodworking, and if you've ever gone to a doctor's office or something and saw a rounded reception desk and wondered how they did that, well, there's a couple different methods. One of them is called kerfing, which is where you set the depth of your table saw half the thickness of your material, and you run slots over it every inch and a half or so, and that allows you to bend the foam or the plywood or whatever you're bending. So I did that, and I cut in these little slivers. You can see that I just glued those in there and filled everything in with the spackle, and we'll sand that up. Hopefully you won't see it. I don't think you will if I do it right. So anyway, the only thing I got to do, I was going to put a cross up here on the top, but I might look around and see if I can't find something different, like maybe an angel or an urn or something. I don't know. So anyway, stay tuned, and we'll hit the next step. All right, we're finally getting somewhere. We got the base put on, we got the lettering carved in there. I got the back done. I cut in a vent. I picked up that vent from the Habitat store for a couple bucks. I didn't know how those controllers would be sitting inside a box, sitting out, out in the heat and whatever. So I figured I better put a little bit of ventilation in there. Just better safe than sorry. The next step I need to do is cut in all my cracks and distressing and all that stuff. I'll probably hit it with some spray paint to get some of that weathered look on the stone itself. Then I'm going to do this brick and stucco waterproofing sealer I picked up at Lowe's. It was sitting right next to the dry lock. I think it's pretty much the same thing. This stuff dries clear, unlike the dry lock stuff, which I think is white. But once I get that done, I can start with the base coat and then the dry brushing and all that fun stuff. One thing I did order was I went on the Haunt forum and got some suggestions of what to put on top of there. Roxy suggested putting a gargoyle up there, which I thought was an excellent idea, so I picked one of those up off of Amazon. That'll be here in a couple days, and we'll paint that to match the stone and everything. So we'll get it painted up, and we'll see you on the next step. All right, we're back, and as you see, I got the base coat down, and I'm going to walk you through a couple steps that I went through to get to this point. Obviously, I didn't record them because it was boring and pointless, but let's see. Once I got everything sanded down, I added in my cracks, as you can see here. I did that with just a regular knife, just kind of willed at them and picked at the foam, and yeah, nothing fancy there. Once I got that done, I sprayed it with spray paint to try to get some texture into the foam, which works. Once I did that, is when I put on that sealer, that masonry sealer that I showed you earlier. And I don't know if it's because there was paint on the foam before I put the sealer on, or if it's because it's all wet and rainy like it's been for the last 3 days, that it caused that sealer a good, I don't know, twice as long to dry as what it should have. It's supposed to be able to paint within 2 to 4 hours, and it was still wet after like 8 hours. So I'm not sure if I like that stuff or not. I got some other stones I got to make, and I'll try it again and see if it does any better. And then after that, I went through with the heat gun, and you can see some of these spots where I hit it with the heat gun to try to give it just even a little bit more texture. And I kind of like that better than using the spray paint. For one, it doesn't cost any more materials, and it's a heck of a lot faster. And you know, I don't know. I just probably just end up doing that. I'll probably just skip the spray paint thing next time. One thing I wanted to point out is when I painted it, I also painted the underside of this. This is not treated lumber, treated plywood. Therefore, it is going to absorb moisture, and of course it's going to be sitting on the ground, so it's a good idea to paint your surfaces. I'm going to paint the inside of it too, because it's you just want to get everything covered, a protective coat of something on it. So that's where we're at. Next I can start doing my tea staining and my dry brushing and all that, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, real quick, check this out. I did my dry brushing with the lighter gray, as you can see here. It's not a big deal. I've done that with other tombstones like you've seen many times before. And my next step that I have to do is all my tea staining and add a little color and a little bit more depth to it. And then check this out. I got this in the mail today. This is my gargoyle that I got off of Amazon for 20 bucks, not bad. Obviously it doesn't match, so the first thing I have to do is paint it with the dark gray first, and then I'll hit it with the lighter gray, just like I did with the dry brushing, to make it all match, and then we'll mount it to the top there, and yeah, we'll check back in a little bit. All right, so I hope you can see this because I just got done with this. It's dark out, and I got the light on this, but I just got done doing the tea staining, and I did multiple layers of black acrylic, as you can see here. Just some black acrylic with some water, and then every layer I did just a little bit darker and darker and darker. And then if it got too heavy, I just dipped my brush in some water and just kind of thinned it out. The brown, you can see, if you can see that here, it's still very wet. I took brown and I took a little bit of orange here and mixed that in, and then just kind of dry brushed that on a little bit. I'm not sure if you can really see that. It's not really showing up in the camera, but it is there. And then I took this wet rag, wet paper towel that I used to sop up all the black that had, soaked up there, down there at the corner, and I just dabbed it over it, and it just kind of thinned out where the edges were, where I did the dry brushing. So anyway, that's pretty much it. All I got left to do is the gargoyle and add the moss, and we're getting closer to being done. And we're done. We finally got this thing finished up. We got the gargoyle painted, and did it the same way we did the tombstone itself, with the darker gray and then dry brushed over top. Finally got the moss situated the way I like it. Thanks to the help of everybody on the Haunt Forum and the Haunters Hangout Facebook page. I first put on the moss and I wasn't happy with it, so I got some advice on how to doctor it up a little bit. I'll show you what I did. First, what I started off with was this Woodlands Fine Turf Green Grass, and I put that on with this liquid fusion that SK Austin suggests using on his channel, and I put that on, and it was very monotone. It was just all one color, so it didn't really look real. So thanks to some great advice on the forum and the Facebook page, I did is it stippled or stippled? It's got to be stippled, where you just tap on some different paint. So first I did it with some darker green, as you see here, and then after that I did just a little bit of black in spots, and then when I was done with that, I went to the lime green, and as you can see, I think it think it looks a lot more realistic now than what it did before, by far. So anyway, go around the back side here. Like I said, it's gonna mount my or house my Light-O-Ram controllers, which I got mounted in here. Got all of them labeled, all the channels labeled of where everything goes, so that'll be fun. Someone else on the Facebook page had commented that this would be a good application to hide your fog machine, and I agree. That would you know, housing your fog machine inside a Tombstone like that would definitely be advantageous to keep it out of sight. Let's see, here's the back. I wasn't sure how this thing would be sitting out in the sun in a box, and I don't know how hot those controllers get or what, so I ended up putting a vent in here just get some air movement through the box. You know, I just better safe than sorry, you know what I mean? So anyway, thanks again to everybody on the Haunt Forum and the Haunters Hangout Facebook page. You guys are a huge wealth of knowledge that I can't thank you guys enough for. So that's all. If you guys like it, leave a comment down below. I'll certainly reply to it. Feel free to subscribe. I put up videos of my props as I do them, and yeah, that's all I got. We'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya. Seriously? Damn it.
Tombstone.